This is Optimal Work Daily, episode 1336. Are you killing your career by avoiding conflict? By Christine Comaford of smarttribesinstitute.com. And I'm Dan, I'm your host, and I am here with you every single day of the year reading from these great blogs on work and entrepreneurship. And we're going to get right to it now as we hear from one of our regular authors, Christine, and optimize your life. Are you killing your career by avoiding conflict? By Christine Comaford of smarttribesinstitute.com. Bob is the CEO of a thriving construction company. The only trouble is he works 75-hour weeks because he picks up the pieces when his key leaders drop the ball. Yet he hasn't made it clear they need to do their own work. Sharon is the SVP sales at a mid-sized software company. Her salespeople are highly compensated, yet continue to miss their numbers, and their compensation hasn't been reduced. What do both leaders have in common? They're avoiding conflict. How your brain handles conflict. Many of us have been socialized or learned as adults that conflict is bad, and in order to succeed, we should appear optimistic and positive at all times. Yet, while avoiding conflict leads to superficial harmony, it denies what is really going on and undermines genuine trust. When conflict occurs, many leaders, like Bob and Sharon, have a tendency to participate in it versus lead through it. It's comfortable to do this because our brains are wired to want to belong. Fear of ostracism leads to fear of conflict. But when we avoid conflict, it has a tendency to escalate. The state of conflict or friction in the workplace or life is something I call the critter state. We dive into critter state when we feel threatened. Anytime there's conflict, the animalistic instincts in our limbic and survival systems kick into gear. This undermines communication and teamwork and fuels aggression. All of this leads to even more issues. Here's what to do. 1. Unpack how your culture creates conflict and address it. Chances are good you'll find A. Recurring low or incomplete communication leading to mismatched expectations and misunderstandings in general. So make sure communication is actionable, accurate, in other words, have the communication receiver echo back what they heard, and complete, meaning ensure dependencies and contingencies are being considered. B. Infrequent or incomplete feedback, leading to people not knowing if they are on or off track. And C. No consequences for dropped accountability, so the pattern repeats. 2. Know your conflict avoidance strategy. Avoiding conflict comes in 3 flavors. First is passivity, doing nothing and hoping the problem will go away, or waiting for the actions of others to fail. Second is overly compliant and trying not to rock the harmony boat of the relationship versus trusting that the relationship will be stronger when ideas and opinions are discussed honestly. And third is overly controlling without including time for discussion and connection. While each of these strategies has a time and a place where they are effective, they will damage results, morale, and sustainability if they aren't stopped. Through coaching, Bob and Sharon came to understand their conflict avoidance pattern. Next, I needed to give them some tools to move through conflict more comfortably. 3. Ask open-ended questions to design a shared outcome. This will enable you and the other person or persons to move from the critter state and into the prefrontal cortex. Woohoo! Now you're in your smart state. Here are the basic questions. What would you like? What will having that do for you? How will you know when you have it? When, where, and with whom would you like it? What of value might you risk or lose? And what are your next steps? Use this tool to discover how your team can move forward in conflict. Have them answer these questions in order to assess where they really want to be. And 4. To stir up healthy conflict, use a piñata. Consider yourself the piñata maker. Offer potential solutions as if you were hanging up a piñata and expecting everyone to take a hit at it. No wax to the idea, no candy comes out. This mindset may help your team to not get too attached to an idea or solution before others have had their say. And at the same time, it'll allow you a way to offer ideas for discussion before they are fully formed in your own mind. Work with your coach to make this collaborative solution-forming style feel safe and productive. Recognize that when you are willing to have direct, non-judgmental conversations about topics like low accountability, blaming behavior, and boundaries, you are able to create powerful learning opportunities for your team and for yourself. Scan your relationships and identify with whom you are holding resentments, festering worries about some of their behaviors, or withholding some other information out of worry they may not like what you have to say, or because you've written them off. Net. Learn why your culture is avoiding conflict and put the tools mentioned in place to reduce it. Understand your conflict avoidance strategy. With this awareness, you can catch it, become conscious of it, and choose to use our conflict navigation tools. Ask questions that create an outcome frame to set a plan for the future and understand where your team wants to be. And use a piñata when you need to mix it up. You just listened to the post titled, "Are You Killing Your Career by Avoiding Conflict?" by Christine Comaford of smarttribesinstitute.com. We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it filters out those incompatible applicants. So when you're hiring, the process is much faster, and you only have to consider applicants that are already likely to be a great fit. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/startup. So just go to Indeed.com/startup right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/startup. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. And thank you so much to Christine, who's one of our regular authors here for today's post. For over 30 years, leadership and culture coach, serial entrepreneur, and New York Times bestselling author Christine Comaford has helped leaders navigate growth and change. She specializes in applied neuroscience, which helps her clients achieve tremendous results in record time. As an entrepreneur, she built and sold 5 companies with an average ROI of 700%. And she was a software engineer in the early days of Microsoft and Apple. Christine is a human behavior expert, a leadership columnist for Forbes.com, and the New York Times bestselling author of Power Your Tribe, Smart Tribes, and Rules for Renegades. Come by smarttribesinstitute.com to learn a lot more about what Christine does and what she's got to offer, and you can check out all the resources they have there. But that's it for another edition of Optimal Work Daily. I hope you have a great day and that you'll be back again with me tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.